talking about engagement today on Man Stuff Monday, coming up. There'll be 3 links down in the description today. One, once again, is for this book. Today is the last day we'll be covering this book on Man Stuff Monday. If you've missed the previous weeks, you can go back and watch those, but I also recommend go ahead and grabbing the book because there were some other chapters I didn't cover, and there were things in the chapters that I did cover that I didn't cover exactly. The second link will be for the Google Hangout that will happen right after this video premieres. I want to welcome any of you guys to jump in with me and chat about what we talked about today or anything else related to this book or anything else you want to talk about. The third link you'll see in the description today is for the book, The Return of Adam, the one we'll be covering next week and for the next 5 weeks after that. That one actually deals with male initiation, and this guy Richard Rohr, he basically studied all of male initiation throughout different cultures and societies throughout time and came out with the 5 main messages that male initiation has taught us about being men. So go ahead, grab that book and be ready for next week. You know, one of the very first things the Creator told us when he created Adam and Eve in the garden, he said, "Be fruitful and multiply, fill the earth, and subdue it." Now, generally speaking, most men don't have a problem with the first half of that statement. They're about being fruitful and multiply. They're fruit and everything they can get their hands on. But the last part of that phrase where it says, subdue it. The word subdue doesn't mean to destroy things. In fact, it's quite the opposite. It actually means to conquer something with the aim of making it useful. You see, God being the master and creator of the universe, setting us in the garden and saying, subdue it, he was delegating authority to you and I. And one of the things about delegated authority is this: we can only operate in our delegated authority as it pertains to our submission to the authority that delegated our authority to us. For instance, a police officer has delegated authority. They have the ability to enforce the laws. They have the ability to pull you over when you're speeding. They have the ability to arrest you and haul your butt into jail. Not because they are an authoritative individual in and of themselves, but because they have had authority delegated to the state in which they're employed by. The same is true for our relationship to God. You and I have a level of authority because of our level of submission to the Creator, and so now we can now subdue the earth and engage in the process. Before a man can subdue the earth and work and recreate in the space and place that he's been set in, before he can subdue things around him, he first needs to subdue himself. A man who can conquer himself will find conquering in the world much easier. A man cannot operate in the level of leadership that he was designed to walk in if he first has not learned submission and learned how to conquer and lead himself. You know, one of the things that this book deals with a lot is dealing with your passivity. And, you know, one of the things that passivity will do to a man is it will sap you of your passion. The thing that you are excited about, the thing that like burns within you, passivity will come in like dirt on a fire, will begin to put that flame out. On page 151, he says this: passivity short circuits your ability to feel deep emotion needed to be passionate about anything or even people that you love. We have to be strategic about going after passivity, choking it out, stomping it out, where if not just to shun it, not just to look away from it, but say, how can I actively push passivity out of my life? You know, today's topic is engagement, and engagement is simply this: doing the thing that you know to do. You know, the previous 4 weeks that we've been studying this book, we talked about 4 topics within his acronym SHAPE. We started off with the letter S, submit. Submitting to your Creator and submitting to the purposes for which you were created. Number 2, we talked about H, honor. Honoring what's valuable in your life and rejecting what's worthless. Number 3, The letter A, assess. Assess and improve, in fact. Assess what's going on in your life and what's going on around you, what's going on in your world. And then after you've made that assessment, improve upon it. Number 4 was the P, perish and provide. Perish to your own selfishness and desires and provide for those who are around you. Now today, the 5th letter in the acronym, E, engage. Engage would be simply this. Those other 4 things that we talked about, do them. Don't let them just be a concept of honor and submission that you understand. Don't let it just be like, oh man, that perish and provide thing was a great idea and assessing and improving. No, actually engage. Go and do these things. Activate them in your life. The major difference most times between success and failure is actually doing it. I mean, there are so many keyboard warriors out there. There's so many people who are experts in their own mind because they think they know something, but they've never actually stepped outside of themselves and gone and done it. You're not actually a man until you've actually done the things that qualify you as a man. If you will, imagine this 5th and final step, engagement, as sort of the capstone on a wall that we've been building these last 4 or 5 weeks. All these other things were blueprints, they were designs, they were getting you to a place, but engagement is actually building the life that we're talking about. This is where you begin asking yourself some really direct questions as it pertains to the other steps that we talked about. Am I truly submitted to God and His authority? Am I truly submitted to the purposes for my life? Am I really giving my life to the most valuable or honorable resources in my life? Am I assessing, am I taking stock of my life and how can I improve that thing today? Am I putting other people's needs ahead of mine, or have I acted selfishly today? Having some reflection questions like these is where I have to sit down and write or think and discuss this with myself and discuss this with God and discuss it with accountability partners or with my wife and say, am I really growing in these things? Am I doing these things? This is where the rubber meets the road. This is engagement. When it comes to being an engaged man, you need to actually come to it with almost a combat mentality. Passivity is trying to destroy my life. It is trying to come in and blow up the bridges and halt the purposes in my life, and I'm going to come and I'm going to combat passivity. I'm going to grab it by the throat and I'm going to choke it out. I'm going to move forward, and I'm not just going to passively allow passivity to take over. I'm going to fight it. Your passion in your life is like a fire, and when you were knit together in your mother's womb, the double helix of your DNA was spun into place, and you were created and designed fearfully and wonderfully to be the man, the exact man that was needed for this day and this time. For such a time as this, you are here, sir, and you are needed. The ember of who you were supposed to be, the ember of your passion was seeded into your heart. Your job is to fuel that fire, to continue to blow away the ash, to feed tinder to this thing, to lay the wood on it and continue. Let that ember become more than just an ember, but become a flame, and to become a bonfire, and to become a consuming passion in your life. Passivity wants to come and kick dirt on your flame. Passivity wants to come and bring distractions and separate coals from the fire and extinguish your flame. But you, sir, feed your fire. Stir your passion. God bless you, and go take your mountain.